You look like you're so much further away from the camera than me. All right, looks like we are live.
Hello, hello.
So if anybody is catching this as we're just kicking off, I'm William Sexton, COO and founder of 2020 Armor, and today I am joined by Master Jim Nam, who, if I can recount all this correctly, is it 4 schools now, sir?
Yes, sir. I have 4 locations, 2 in Victorville, 1 in Upland, and 1 in Claremont.
Okay, so you're all around the LA area.
Yeah, you know, our headquarters is about an hour and a half away, and then our closest one to LA is actually in LA County.
Okay.
And that one's like about literally 30 minutes away from Koreatown in LA.
Oh yeah, you guys living that Cali lifestyle out there.
I tell you what, man. I tell you what, sir. You know, I love where I live because you know I could drive 40 minutes. I'm at Newport, and I drive about 25 to 30 minutes. I'm at a ski resort in Mountain High behind me.
Oh, wow.
I'm an hour away from Big Bear, and Lake Arrowhead's like 30 minutes away from me, and Koreatown is like 30 minutes away from where I live. So you know, hey, I can't complain. Korean barbecue, we got the best food. I mean, hey, I'm sorry about other cities, but I gotta say, hands down, LA has the best food in the country.
Oh, I can believe it. I've gone to a lot of tournaments out in California, but I've never gotten to spend much time, you know, really around LA or really much of that area. It's always, you know, 24 hours in and out or something like that. So I've never got to enjoy much of it. So I'm gonna have to come out and visit you and you know, hit every spot that you just mentioned.
Absolutely, you could. I'll be your Korean constituent.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds good. Well, just as a reminder for everybody who's just tuning in, I'm William Sexton. I'm joined here by Master Jim Nam, and today we're going to be talking about parents' night out, and so how, you know, give you guys some tips and tricks on how to be running your parents' night out. Get some, you know, straight from the horse's mouth, as it were. You know, how you could be successful with
a horse.
Are you really?
Yes.
Okay, well there we go. What is? I'm 1990. I don't even know what year that is. Let's say it's I'm an honorary year of the horse as well.
Yeah, if you're born in 90, 12 years, yeah, you're a horse.
All right, well there we go.
But then again, see, my year at 78 was the year of the white horse that only comes every so often, and you're just a regular horse, so you can't put yourself in the same position as me. I'm sorry, William. You know, just how we roll.
You're a metal horse.
Yeah, I'm just.
That's actually what it's called, a metal horse.
A metal. I'm being told by my experts here that that's called a metal horse. I feel like I'm Conan O'Brien and I've got researchers piping into my ear right now. All right, so just before we actually get started, I do want to remind everybody we are doing these you know, interviews with industry leaders every week. On Thursdays from 2 to 2:30, and from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Obviously, we're also running a special for 2020 Armor, where if you visit our store at store.2020armor.com, our gear is actually available for a discount during this period. It's, rather than the normal $5.99 a unit, it's $5.25 a unit for a $75 discount. And you can always ask us questions or talk to our salesman while this sale is going on. So don't forget to check that out before you guys tune on. So,
and if anybody wants me to go ahead and negotiate on your behalf, I'm really great with that. I'll ask questions like, "What if I give you cash?" You know, things like that, and be able to negotiate on your behalf. So you guys just throw me a little line here, and then I'll go ahead and grind them down. I'll grind them down to go ahead and get the best price.
As long as you're trading me that Korean Cali experience
that
we're talking about. Yeah, we'll wheel and deal a little bit.
All right, that's the deal. That's the deal.
Okay, so I guess let's just start off with a quick overview. So we're talking about Parents' Night Out. I think a lot of different people run these events in different ways. Some of them are running events that are just for their internal students, and some of them are running, you know, events trying to get new students from, you know, external sources. So I guess let's just start out there. When you're talking about how you run, you know, Parents' Night Out, what is your first target? Are you targeting internally or are you targeting externally?
Well, it all depends on each Parents' Night Out, to be honest.
Okay.
And so a lot of people think like there's only one solution to things. I found out I've done so many programs, I've gotten so many consulting, I spent a lot of money on so many things. At the end of the day, I really had to, I hate to say this, but it is within your personality and what you like to go ahead and do, and your neighborhood. I mean, it's all of the above. And I think they pretty much know what that is. And what I mean by that is there's three things that you could go ahead and do with any events. It could be a lead generating event, it could be a revenue generating event, or it could be a retention tool. And then sometimes you could do all three in one, you could do two, you could only do one. So it really depends on what your goals are. So one of the biggest things that I learned is you got to have the end picture in mind. What are you trying to do? So to answer that question, you got to really know, okay, am I trying to get leads? Am I going to go ahead and make money off of this? Or am I going to go ahead and keep retention? Because if you're doing it for retention, well, I don't charge for that. If I'm doing it for revenue, then I do certain things. And if I do it for leads, I make it free for the friends, like things like that. So it really depends. I don't know if that answers the question. I know that was like really general, but you know.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, right? I mean, no matter what business you're in or what goal you're trying to shoot for, having a clear idea of what is success going to look like. Right. And then you can go backwards and say, hey, did we accomplish that? What do we need to change to accomplish that? So I really like that. I guess let me ask a more pointed question for what is your specific focus when you run your Parents' Night Out? So are you typically looking at doing it for retention, or are you generally trying to hit all three, or are you saying, what, we're really going to focus on getting those external leads? Like what do you feel comes up more often?
I try to hit all three, but this Valentine's Day, we're doing one on Saturday, and that's going to be for retention and customer experience for the parents. So we're basically going to go ahead and do it for free. Bring all your friends free. It's book solid, and we're just going to go ahead and do it for retention purposes to show parents that we really care about you guys. It's a present from us to you. We might do that like twice a year, 3 times a year. But for the most part, I try to go ahead and hit revenue generating, and also mostly for the leads also. So a lot of the times when we go ahead and do a Parents' Night Out, we'll target, like, so let's say, our headquarters, our limit is 50. It gets booked every month. We do one every month, and from that point on, it's just since it's an autopilot, it gets booked every month. So the revenue is automatic, and then the leads it differentiates depending on when the time of the year. But the leads are, if we do it for friends are always free. So it seems like all three, but depending on which type of the year, it's okay. It hits 2 of the spots or 3 of the spots. Okay, so your timing is really going to help determine where you are, in your cycle of students coming in and going out, and what your target's got to be for that. So that's really cool. Yeah. So I guess the first question that we get all the time is like, okay, it's a cool concept. What is the first actual thing that we have to do to start and get this running? How do you set it up? How do you get interest for it? How do you just get it off the ground? Yeah, so I always tell this to everyone. It takes a lot of work for anything that you do. Don't try to get away with, hey, it's not a get rich quick scheme. You really have to care. I mean, the default is you have to care for the students. You do it for them. You create this amazing service for them, and you got to think about, okay, as a parent, what is it that I want? And that's just kind of a given, okay? Let's just say that's already given. And what I put on your website, I think what I put on your Facebook page pretty much sums it up, and I'll explain it. First, you got to make the Parents' Night Out on a certain day of the month. So don't do like 25th today, or and then next time it's like 10th, and then it's on a Friday, and then it's on a Saturday. It has to be consistent. Even if you only get 5 people on the first one, you don't just give up on it. You make it the second Saturday of every month. So the parents need to know, because you always have to cover what's in it for you. What's in it for the kids, they're gonna have fun. What's in it for the parents? Well, they get babysitting service for dirt cheap. Whoever they want to go out with, they could go ahead and invite their friends, and then their friends could go ahead and come to the studio, even if they're not their students. So it's better for you to have something consistent, so that they know that every second Saturday of each month is Parents' Night Out, so they can make plans for the next 2-3 months if they
Right.
want.
So they're treating you first in their schedule, and they're looking forward to that day. So they know next month, I know that this is going to happen. Taekwondo is going to be the first thing in their calendar, and then they can make plans around you.
I suggest you guys do it every month. I mean, for me, it's like I do it every month. I think everybody should do it every month. But hey, everybody knows their market, and if they're doing it every month and they're only getting 5, but if they do it every other month, then they're getting like 20, 30, then that's something that they have to go and work on with their pontification. And that's why I can't give a certain thing and say, hey, this is going to work, because it's all about, your innovation. You figure out how to do things, and then you quantify it. You got to measure it, put stats, stats. You got to make sure you know your numbers. And then you fix it, you tweak it, and then make it better. And then you got to go ahead and orchestrate it, which is, you have a formula now, and then you do it as close as possible to that every single time, and don't deviate away from plan. So in order for somebody to make it successful, they kind of have to go ahead and figure out their numbers first. And then the second thing that they should do is keep the prices low. Don't charge like some exuberant amount. We charge like $20, $25 if you do early bird.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's because I noticed that I did some research, and local what is that, daycare and places like that, they charge about $45 for 3 hours. So we charge like $20 for 4 hours. And one thing that I like to give advice on, don't put that you're going to do a movie night or anything on the internet, because now the movie rights people are really coming down, and they have bots inside the internet. They try to find the word movie nights and things, and when you show a movie at your studio, then you get hit with the lawsuit. And I know people who've gotten hit with the lawsuit, and then they had to settle for like $10,000 for showing a movie. You're not allowed to go ahead and do that. I don't know if they know it or not. So I never mention that anytime we do a movie night, or if we do a movie, we don't mention that on our Facebook or anywhere, because they're pretty smart about it now.
So Master Nam, what you're telling me is you're going to buy a lot of 2020 armor. Otherwise, I'm going to turn you into the FBI.
Oh, hey, you gotta be able to prove it, baby. You gotta be able to. And as a matter of fact, actually, I'm actually gonna talk to Ali, and I wanted to put in a big order, actually. And I have a team coming up with sparring.
Okay.
And my goal is like, hey, you know what? The more I think about this, it just makes more sense. I want to be able to go ahead and incorporate Armor 2020 into my tournament. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. So I'll probably call you guys on that later on.
All right. So if you want to, this goes into your negotiation spiel earlier, right? If you guys want to piggyback after Master Nam's order, you let him know, and he's got the connection.
All right. So when I make that big order, I'll go ahead and make sure that hey, you heard him because I'm gonna grind him down. I'm kidding, guys. I tell you what, if it's worth it, you just get it.
Yeah.
If you say $50, hey, whatever. It's $50. But if it's gonna go ahead and return on investment is gonna be so high, I don't ask my CPA for discount. I don't ask my doctor for discount. If it's worth it, I just buy it, and I wait. I don't waste time. And so, if you guys, I'm just, with all kidding aside, if you guys think it's gonna help, you should just get it. And if you don't think it's not gonna help, don't get it, because I'm sure it's not gonna hurt his feelings.
Well, that is a perfect segue into talking about our discount, which we're actually running on our sale right now from 2 p.m. To 3 p.m., where normally the units are $5.99, but for this sometime we're actually running them for $5.25. So I appreciate your endorsement, sir. Sure. And yeah, we definitely wanted to get you set up for a long time. And that actually goes, into this Parents Night Out kind of idea, right, where we have a lot of schools that are actually using these. Using video game ideas to actually get students to be more interested. They're great, especially for special events where it's not just sitting in a horse riding stance and doing 500 middle punches. It's a very kind of new way to get people interested in it. So that is something that I did want to ask you as well. When you guys are doing Parents Night Out, are you doing different kinds of content than you normally would in class, in typical classes, or is this like doing a group intro lesson? Because we've kind of heard of that strategy as well.
No, you know what? To be frank, I don't do any martial arts. I do martial art games. So that's where maybe you could go ahead and use the Armor 2020. But I don't go into a traditional, and some people are like, hey, you know what? They do a martial art school and martial art thing, and then they break a board at the end of the night and give special discount to people. And I think that's great for them. I just don't. The way I like to do it is very soft. I just have enjoy life, enjoy time, enjoy the time, and then just play martial art related games that they like. And then at the end of the day, it's like we just send them home. And if they're interested, if they like the way the instructor interacted, then they'll go ahead and come and ask me for information or whatever. And then we have like a little thing that says, hey, get 2 weeks free. Ask us how. So we do that. And then just it's just a very simple process.
Okay.
And then, so I don't like to go ahead and do too many of I don't actually do classes. However, I did want to go ahead and I forgot to go ahead and actually finish. We got off track with the whole thing, but Parents' Night Out, make it. You make sure you make it like every second Saturday of each month, and then you got to make it at least 4 hours, I think. And then you got to go ahead and do it at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. started at that time because if you have a small one, like I'm very restrictive when it comes to like my kids going to sleep at a certain time, and especially when you hit like middle class or upper middle class, they're very strict on that too. So depending on where your neighborhood is too, I try not to go past 9 p.m. and then I try to stay under 8 p.m. And then when you go ahead and feed them, pizza's okay, but don't feed them like Capri Sun, okay? Like I hate taking my kids to somewhere that feeds like a bunch of sugar to them, and that's just personal thing. And from what I understand, like again, being in certain neighborhoods and having certain type of parents in California, and they appreciate that when we give them honest kids, baked chips, a little bit more to that end. So we do that, and we don't give them like Capri Sun. We limit like one what is that? One juice and then one chips, and we don't give them any candy. Like we let the parents know that too, and they really actually appreciate it. Like in our school system, like schools don't allow parents to bring cupcakes and things like that in a lot of the different places, just because of this whole sugar thing. It's somebody's birthday all the time, and then you got to make sure, I know somebody asked, you got to make sure you got to have like a couple of people on duty at all times. Even if there's 5 people, even if there's 1 person, even if there's 3 people, I still need 2 staff members, paid staff members, because of liabilities.
Yeah, so that was actually going to be one of my next questions is what kind of infrastructure do you really need, to have surrounding you in order to do this? So, I saw several topics, people talking on Facebook about, what responsibilities you can have, for some of your junior instructors who are not necessarily on payroll, maybe they're under 18, right? Which is most schools, like a lot of their help is coming from junior helpers and things like that, right? So right. What can you spend a little bit more time on that? What do you have?
It's actually a bigger thing than a lot of people imagine. So for Parents' Night Out, I just do it like this: make sure 2 staff members, because if one of them goes to the bathroom, right, basically your kids are unsupervised.
Right.
like that makes absolutely no sense to me. So you can have a volunteer, but they're not working at your school. They're not responsible for the kids. Mm-hmm. So you need 2 people, paid staff members, to be there. One of them should be over the age of 21. That's how I feel, right? Mm-hmm. They at least a little bit older, better, because they have the maturity and they have the experience of dealing with kids and things when things happen. So a little bit older, better. I personally wouldn't put like 16-year-olds to run the whole thing without somebody being there, right? And that's one of our policies. So we want to make sure that the 2 people are there. And then if there's a lot of people, I like to have 10-to-1 ratio if I could. I will take up to 15-to-1 ratio if I have to. So if there's like 30 people and I only have 2 instructors that could go ahead and work, I'll do it. But also as a safety mechanism, I go ahead and have 2 more volunteers. So I try to have 1 volunteer per instructors that I have working, so that they're going to go ahead and help. Now they could be volunteers, they could be parents, they could be leadership team members, it could be teenagers, somebody that's going to be able to go ahead and help you with the event, that to go ahead and pick up trash and do all these things on top of that. So that's kind of how I work it. But the biggest thing that you guys have to consider is, what's your policies and procedure? Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Like when you have a Parents' Night Out, like what is your policy on how many people have to work there? What kind of people do they have to be? What kind of training do they have to do? They have to have CPR training. Do they have to have a first aid? Do they have to be able to? Do they have to be a certain age? Do they have to be a certain level of instructor? And then on top of that, like, what's the procedure? What do you have to have in place? You know, and how do you run it? Safety protocols. You know, what happens if somebody gets sick? Like, how are you going to go ahead and reach out to their parents? Do they have to stay? What age? So like, there's like a bigger thing in play, because anytime something happens at your school, the first thing they're going to go ahead and ask you is, hey, what's your policies and procedure regarding whatever it is that they're trying to sue you with? And if you say, well, we don't, this is how we do it, they're going to say, well, can we see it? Can we see the policies and procedures?
So how, you know, nuts to bolts, right? Like what's a really good way of going about doing that? I mean, is it just type everything out, put in the binder, and this is our event?
Yeah,
policy, and something you can lay down on the table and say, we follow step 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so like we have things like, okay, this is regarding Parents Night Out. We have an event checklist that they have to go through.
Okay.
Right? This is how they do it, right? And then these are how many people they have to have. These are the things that they order, and then this is how it's conducted. And then we have a safety protocol. Anytime somebody says that they're hurting somewhere, we have a set of questions that we ask. We have an incident report that we have to fill out. And then if they're not able to go back in, it's mandatory for us to go ahead and take them to the parents and then let them decide. So it's not just in Parents Night Out, but if they're in class, and even if we know this kid fakes it every single time, that's not our place to go ahead and say, well, you're faking it and you should go back in class. Because if there's one time, if something happens, like we have multi-locations. So if you have 4 locations, I can't be there every single time. And the instructor has to call, and he's not a doctor, and say, well, hey, you know what, you're faking it. And then so he makes them do it. Well, guess what? If anything happens, they're going to ask you, hey, what is your policy and procedure on when somebody gets hurt? Well, why did you make that call, sir? Are you a doctor? No, you're not. So what made you decide that you could go ahead and call this, you know, for this kid, that he was going to just suck it up and he was just faking it? You have no right to go ahead and do that. But if you have policies in place where you have to take them to the parents, and then you ask them certain questions, you fill out an incident report, let the parents decide, like, hey, he's faking it, I'm going to have him go back in class. Then at the end of the day, it's the parents who made him go back into class.
Right.
And then if they're actually hurt, and you could go ahead and see that they're hurt, and the parents want them to go ahead and take class, then we have every right to refuse so. And my staff member, my team member has those protocols, so they could go ahead and do that. So if anything happens, we have to prove that it was not negligent. So like, if we're going into the whole negligence on a lot of people think, well, hey, if you think this way, how are you going to go ahead and run a business? Well, my question is, you know, we always think it's not going to happen to us, but for me, again, with all the students I have and with 4 locations, I'm not going to take that chance.
Yeah, and then the bigger you get, the more that you play that game, right?
Yeah.
It's a numbers game, absolutely. I think that's definitely something that's very common in smaller dojons. You know, a lot of people enter the industry because they love martial arts and not necessarily, you know, with a focus on the business. And so a lot of these things don't get brought up until it's too late, until you're getting hit with that lawsuit, or you have that really disgruntled parent, or you have an injury on the mat. So this is really good. Yeah, have your policies in place, guys. Have a procedure where you're going, if something is to happen, who handles it? How is it handled? How do we resolve it? Very, very strong piece of advice.
And then if they need to, all they have to do is just, you know, they could go ahead and private message me, give me their email address. And I'm actually working with, you know, I have a really fantastic people, you know, around me. And, you know, there's a company called Block Insurance, and, you know, they don't charge for any of this. They're just like really great people. They're martial artists. And so they help us, and we send flows on what you should have covered in your business. So it's free. There's no catch to it.
Fantastic. Okay, so for everybody just joining us, I am William Sexton, founder and COO of 2020 Armor. I am joined here with Master Jim Nam, and we're talking about how to run a successful Parents Night Out, and some tips and tricks, and just, you know, tips for running your dojang better and more effectively in general. So just to reintroduce Master Nam real quick, Master Nam has 4 dojangs out in the LA area. He's also the excuse me, a frog in my throat. He's also the vice president of ASA, the American Supplement Association, which I do want to talk to you about that just a little bit, as well as being the published author of Life Skill for Kids. So, Master Nam, I know that a lot of this content is also available through, you know, different channels that you support, namely ASA. I know that as 2020 Armor, we've gone and presented and sponsored ASA for the past couple of years. It's been a great value for us, both as, you know, on the gear side, but as well as just school owners ourselves. I know you guys run a yearly convention. Do you guys have any information for people that would be interested in looking for a new source for just Dojang management?
Yeah, actually, we have our annual summit coming up on September 18th and 19th at New York Hotel in Las Vegas. So, it's a great venue. It's located right in the smack of where the action is. The food's great. We like to go where there's a lot of good food, you probably noticed. And we really have a great crowd of people. We're a boutique style summit where a lot of things are very intimate. And our events are, not just like, hey, here's like 45 minutes of something and then that's it. We actually, our actual time of the speakers are about 1.5 to about 2 hours, so that you're able to go to answer a lot of different questions and be able to get things that are relative to you and be able to ask questions and take things into your school and be able to actually run things. So it's gonna be a great event, and everybody always talks about like everybody's event is great. And I for me, I always like to say, everywhere I go, every seminar I went to, I learned something. You just got to find the one that you really like and that you click with. And for me, that's always been the American Sabanyu Association. And I feel like I belong. We're a group of a lot of Taekwondo practitioners. Our schools are, we have a group of people who are already established, and it's great networking with people who are really bright-minded. So, if you guys want to go ahead and come check it out, great. We do go ahead and have a great time together. We form a lot of bonds together and friendship. And everybody that I made friends with, a lot of people that I made friends with is through ASA that lasted over, so many years. So if you guys want to check it out, come check it out.
Absolutely, and we recommend that as well. Like I said, we've gone to the ASA event for the last several years, just for our own education as school owners and martial artists, as well as just sponsoring, from our own business side. So we like to support it from both ways. It's a great event, and we definitely look forward to coming and seeing you guys again. I'll never turn down a Vegas trip, especially when Master Nam knows all the best possible food. So,
oh yeah.
Well, excuse me. Let's get back to the Parents' Night Out.
Sure.
Topic here real quick. So I do have one question about, how are you determining what your themes for the events are going to be? And, do you run those repetitively, or are you constantly changing those?
Oh, yeah, you got to change them all the time. And it's whatever is hot at that time too. So, and this is important. This is very important. You got to go ahead and let the Parents' Night Out, whatever the subject that you do, you got to give it to an instructor who actually likes it. You could give it to somebody. You could give it to somebody and they'll run it, but they won't run it as good as somebody like really, really, really likes those kind of events. So it could be the event itself, or somebody just really into Star Wars, right? And you give him that, specific Star Wars theme. Or somebody's like really into Legos, then you give them the Lego theme. So we have like Lego, master building, like you have judges at the end, and you get to go ahead and team up with people, and we give you like 30 minutes to be a master builder. And then we have Nerf gun, that's pretty popular. And
right. So how do you actually go about executing content for each theme? Like, can you give me an example of like a theme that you guys did, and then maybe like what did you do that was like special for that theme, right? Like what's a recent one that you guys have done?
So everything is pretty much the same. Like how everybody comes in, who's the greeter, who's the one that's signing people in, who's the one that's giving the name tags to the kids, and then who's receiving the kids and playing a game while everybody comes in. That's like all same. But when we get to a certain timeline, after you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then there's a main part of the actual event, which is like, let's just out of the 4 hours, we're gonna watch 1.5 hours on maybe a movie, right? 1 hour and 45 minutes. So that leaves you with like almost 2 hours of what you're gonna do, right? You check people in for 30 minutes, and then you eat for about 30 minutes, and so you got about an hour. But with that hour, you usually want to go ahead and do it during that time. So we have, let's say, Lego Master Build. We would time it at, okay, I want you guys to make teams. I want you guys to go ahead and come up with a team name. And then like they'll take like 5 minutes, and then you're like, all right, now I want you guys to go ahead and you guys think about what you guys are gonna build. So we kind of lead them to that, and then And then they say, okay, now from this point on, I'm going to give you 30 minutes. And then who wants to be the judge, right? And then we create judges. And then we let the kids judge. And then they want to be the judges. They're going around with their little clipboard and checking off like whatever, they take notes, you know, and then at the end, so they're not involved in the actual thing, but they're like judges. So now, you know, they're doing that. And then after 30 minutes later, boom, look, they get to represent, you know, they could present it however they want. You know, it's like a show, you know, like they could do like a little theme thing, like they could do a little dance move. Well, I don't know. Like we get creative, and then they present it, and then the judges will go ahead and do it. And then at the end of the night, they get like something like first place, second place, third place, and then you get like we give out like weird prizes, like, oh, you know, whoever wins first prize, you get to be able to drink water one day anytime you want in the class, you know, and then they're like, oh, I get to go and drink water. So it's like, or like we would just put like bottles of water and go, this is your first place trophy. It's a bottle of water. Like, it's so weird. Like it's so random. Like kids like love it. They're like, they think it's
like an old school reward. You know, you're like the old like real hard, you know, like Korean master dojang, right?
Yeah.
So I got to go to the bathroom. You hold it, right? Like I want that right to be able to go whenever I want, right?
Yeah. You can use this bottle to go to the restroom if you want, right? No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, it's like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, like the random prizes work so much better than like trophies and stuff. Like,
yeah. So but what I'm hearing is it's not very expensive. It's just about making something that's kind of fun and memorable for them.
Yeah, and then like people like associate awards now is like everybody's get one, but like I try to do things that put a smile on kids' face, like, oh, that's so stupid, you know, but like they're smiling about it, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. We're like, you get this water bottle and 20 seconds of bragging rights to other people. You're like, yeah, I'm the man. Ooh, I'm the boy, you know, ooh, you know, like whatever. And then they're like, they just love it.
Yeah.
So our instructors who are doing the events, they get a choice of picking those prizes depending on they see the mood in them. And that's why having a great instructor is important. You have a system, and then you have instructors who are able to choose, because that's what they ultimately got to be able to. They got to look at the class and understand, and they got to analyze and understand what they need at that time. Mm-hmm. And so that's what makes a real difference, big difference in any event, any class, how to run a successful class, anything. Like it's that ability to analyze and pick be creative and pick the right drills and whatever it is that they're supposed to do at that moment. That's going to go ahead and take that class to the next level.
Yeah, being able to read the room and kind of re-guide the flow where everything's going. 100% agree. So I did have one other kind of really critical question for you. Is, you know, a lot of reasons that, you know, I think probably the biggest one that people are going to try and run custom events for, more than, you know, retention, is for the new student acquisition, right? Everybody is always trying to get, that's the first part, is get more people in the door, and then they kind of worry about retention a little bit later, right? So what would you say is, let's say, the number one way that you're going to use a parents' night out to get new leads? How do you go about really making that a killer lead generator?
Okay, so people are going to hate me for this. This is just, okay, this goes out there. This is just what I believe in, right? Okay. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. This is just how I like to go ahead and do it with my personality, right? I'm in it for the long run. I'm in it for the long haul. I like to nurture my leads. I like to provide things. Just like, you know, I believe in the long term. It's a marathon, right? I don't like to go ahead and just like get somebody real quick. I try to avoid that like the plague. So I don't offer anything to them. I don't offer like, hey, by the way, guys, if you guys were here, I like to offer this like free. I don't do any of those things, right? What I do is I just have a little thing on the side, and it says, hey, there's like 2 free classes, and then you can go ahead and fill this out, you know, and then you can go ahead and ask us how, and then a fill out form, and it says it right there. You get 2 weeks free. So I just kind of let them do that, and the reason for that is because I don't like it when, you know, when I did it. When I used to do all that at the end, and it left a bad taste in their mouth. So all I focus is on and just creating like the best time ever. So the kids, I don't know, if you're a parent, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. If your kid comes up to you and goes, Mom, I wanna go to Taekwondo. I wanna go to that place again. I wanna do that again. I wanna do that. I wanna go to their class. Wow, if their class is as fun as what they did here, oh my gosh, I wanna go. You get 2 weeks free. Mom, I wanna go, I wanna go, I wanna go. You're gonna take them.
Mhm.
That's just how things are. So we try to do that now. Nurturing is very important. A lot of people like are so much focused on like low hanging fruit, which is like people that are like, how do I get that person right now to go ahead and do something, take action? I think that's important too. But for me, I'm at a stage where I'm not going to do that. Just like Taylor Swift is there's a bigger value in things in the long run. It works out somehow. Like Taylor Swift was when somebody tweeted like, "Hey, Taylor Swift, come to my wedding and sing for us," and then she went, right? Like, what immediate value did she really get? Investing like 5 hours of her time to go ahead and go there. If she did 5 hours of driving and doing what planning whatever, and then she did that for an event, like I'm sure she could make a $500,000 real quick.
Mhm.
But what immediate return did she have at that moment to go actually go to a stranger's place and sing for them on their wedding day? But that created so much press, that created so much things for her, where
Right.
the back end, like it really created this whole like thing for her and media coverage and so much things. So I really believe that as corny as I might sound, if you just focus on right now, like what are you trying to do? Okay, you're gonna do parents' night out, and you're going to go ahead and create the best parents' night possible. Like don't focus on anything else. You're going to have these things in place of what you could deal with, what you like. But right in front of you is like, how do I create the best experience ever for people who walk into my door? Like the Ritz-Carlton. Actually, I like St. Regis a lot better than Ritz-Carlton. And Four Seasons. Ritz-Carlton went down a little bit in service. I've been to St. Regis.
I got to get on your level, Metronome. I have no opinion on all of them because I'm yet to get there.
And actually, the best Four Seasons I ever went was in Canada, in Vancouver.
Really?
Hands down, best customer service I had out of all the Four Seasons, and then the best St. Regis was in Mexico. But anyway, you gotta be able to provide that. But here's the thing: you're like, hey, we're not there yet. We're just starting. I'm a one-man army. I get that. Okay, you don't have to have procedures. You don't have to have any of these. But don't complain about you wanting to be here because you're only doing here. Like I know the struggle is real. I know that hey, you're only able to do this much right now. But I get that. But I'm sorry, if you want to be here, you gotta level up your game. Mm-hmm. Success doesn't care about how much you work. Just like if I were to go ahead and create a phone, spend $5 million, and I worked 80 hours a week, if the phone sucks, nobody's gonna buy it because of my effort.
Yeah, it comes down to the quality of what you're really putting out there. So that's what I'm hearing, I guess, from this is like you want to make a product that's so good, an experience that's so good that those students are going to go home. They're going to beg their parents to be part of it because they had such a good time. So that's not being sold. That's
right.
just the success selling itself, right? So when your kid comes home to you and they say they want to do it, that's organic.
Right, and the one thing that Master Mertens actually put it really good was he said, hey, you want to be able to create events because parents are not very good salespeople. And they're not like us where they go to another parent and go, hey, listen, this created so much value for my kid. You should definitely go. I could get you 3 free weeks or a month free and free uniform. Hey, you should come with us. It's really going to make a whole lot of difference. Like parents can't say that.
Right.
So what you have to do is you have to be able to sometimes create these events where the parents go, hey, it's free. You want to go? Like anybody could say that.
Right.
Like, hey, they'll watch your kids for free.
Yeah, right? It's just very, very simple. And I like the idea that you have that with that as well. Keep it really, really low cost because you're going to make that money back, by getting, one new student. It's going to be well worth charging double or triple for your parents' night out across everybody, right? If you get one more student from that, like the money will play out. You don't have to worry about that. But yeah, making that low barrier to entry so that you're getting these people to want to come rather than trying to wrangle them to come in. That's really, really powerful. I like that.
Yeah, with the years, to me, I don't know about other areas, but in California, what I noticed the trend was right now is it's the years of high pressure sales, it's pretty much disappeared because it used to work in the 90s, even the low early 2000s, but now the parents, it's just different attitude. It's just different attitude. There's just so much information out there. It's just you have to go ahead and go with the changes and just create this awesome experience where they're like, oh my gosh. And for people who are like, hey, people are not coming to my events. Well, I mean, it's always the same thing. Like it's I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm just saying, like, you go to a restaurant, they have the best food, they have the best service, and they have the best price. I have never seen any of one of them over a period of time, like, empty on a Friday night. Like, that never happens. So, you know, you got to keep things real. It's not like, hey, you suck, but it's more like, hey, if people aren't coming to my school after 5 years, I only have 100, or unless that's what you wanted. After, after so many events and your events, nobody's showing up to it. You got to keep it real and go, okay, they're basically saying, I don't see a value in it. Like, it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Something's wrong. And instead of like, okay, how do I get more people into the door to my events? You got to really dig deep and say, okay, what am I doing? Like, why is this not working? Is being translated differently? Like,
Right.
is it being translated? Because people are not dumb. Like, if you're trying to make money, like, and that's what you're about, they're going to see that.
Right. Yeah. So chasing the money versus chasing the quality and the experience of that, and what they're actually going to remember and feel and go home with, that can definitely lead you astray.
Yeah, I joke around with my parents too. I say, hey, we're having a parents' night out. It's $20 for 4 hours. That's like $5 an hour. Like, that's cheaper than like minimum wage labor anywhere in the United States.
Yeah.
You know, that's almost as what it will cost in China. You know, like, come on, you guys, it's cheap. And I keep it real. I tell them, and then you gotta explain, the why. Why do you have to go? Why do you want to do this? Number one, well, don't you want your kids to make friends that have parents who believe in the same thing as you? And all these parents are here to better their child's lives. So wouldn't you rather have your kids hang out with friends that have the parents have those values? So how are they going to hang out? In class, they can't talk. So you want to send them to these so that they can make friends. So when something happens at school and their friends are like saying this, they have like 50 other friends in Taekwondo that says, hey, doing the right thing is cool, you know? And then you tell them that. So that's one of the reasons. And the second reason I go, hey, parents, I came up with this idea because I needed a babysitter. You guys deserve to go out. Why would you not take this opportunity when someone you could go ahead and count on is safe? We have these protocols in place. You guys know us. And then it's fun for them. And we're going to watch this $20 for 4 hours. Bring your friends. Why wouldn't you want to tell your friends who you want to go out with that night to go ahead and bring their kids here?
Right.
Like, guys, this is like a public service that almost I'm doing right now. And then the parents, like, when I tell them, because that's what I really want, that's really what happened, you know, they believe you. And they're like, that makes total sense. Now it's not about come to our thing again. Like, they're like, oh man, that's another event. They want us to come. It's $20 I have to spend. Now it's becoming like, oh, that makes total sense. You know,
Yeah, if you paid for a babysitter $20 for a night of services, it's nothing. So
$20. And the friends are free.
Yeah.
We get like 30 to 40% of the people that are friends that are coming. We you know, and that doesn't mean that a lot of the friends are going to sign up, okay? That doesn't mean that. But marketing is what? Like, hey, when you get students, you get like one from an event, couple from a booth that month. And then you got, you know, Facebook ads brought you like 3. And then a referral came in at 2. Now you have 10 students.
Right.
So that's how you do signing up students. It's never like, hey, there's this one way that's going to bring you 20 students that month and every month. You have to work your butt off. Like,
yeah, lots of different streams.
Yeah, I hate it when people call me and they're like, what are you doing? And you know, give me that one thing that's like getting you a lot of students. I just need to get, you know, 20 people into the door. I'm like, dude, come on. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And by the way, we signed up 28 people in January. One of the best Januaries we had. Signed up 28 people.
That's amazing.
But anyway.
Well, I think we're actually past our time here, and I appreciate all of the content, Shawn. Is there any last, you know, golden tip or trick that you want to leave our viewers with? The last little nugget.
Yes, I do. I have one very simple. This will get you success in everything that you do for the rest of your life.
Let's hear it.
On business and anything, events, classes, anything. This is the key. This is the key ingredient. If you do what I ask you to do right now, then you will succeed. There's no doubt. Do what you ask your students to do. If you tell your students the 5 tenets of Taekwondo, have perseverance, you know, never give up, have integrity, do all those things, whatever it is that you're doing, it doesn't matter. If you're looking at marketing, if you have perseverance, you're going to do it until it works, whatever it is. So it's not about one thing, it's about your mindset. If you do what advice that you would give to your students and you actually do it yourself, right? Like to the core, then whatever you do, it doesn't even have to be Taekwondo. Then they will succeed. And that's the last thought that I want to go and leave everybody.
That is brilliant and beautiful. All right, so Master Nam, thank you for joining us so much. Before all of you guys leave, obviously you guys can continue asking questions. I know Master Nam follows us on Facebook and loves to chime in on some of these things just throughout the course of any given day. And we're also here to give you guys any more details that we possibly can on how to help you run your schools better, more efficiently, more effectively, more profitably, and make you happier and healthier. So I do want to point out that we have our sale going on for another 20 minutes. So our 2020 Armor units are usually $5.99. We're doing our sales during the time that we do these Thursday seminars with people that we bring on from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So if you guys are interested in that, please go check us out at store.2020armor.com. And Master Nam, thank you so much for being on our.
Question.
Oh yeah.
Can you do me a favor? I will go ahead and if you could go ahead and either send out a thing for us for the American Sabaoni Association or something of that sort. And we have a special right now. That's why it's
really? Yeah.
Super early bird special. It's like $249. We pay for your lunch. We pay. I mean, like, it is unheard of. So it's the first year we're having that deep of a discount. So if you could go ahead and do that, and then maybe I could go ahead and talk to you guys about whoever signs up. They could get a little bit of discount on your your Armor 2022. That way they'll be able to benefit if that's possible.
That's a great idea. So if you guys haven't been to ASA before, 2020 Armor has actually been a sponsor for the last several years, and we look forward to continuing doing that. We're always looking for ways to continue our partnership on. So I'm going to go ahead and commit to that with you on air right now. If you guys sign up for, I don't know what the number is, but we're going to come out with something. So
okay.
If you guys are going to show up and sign up with ASA, then we'll hook you guys up with a special ASA rate.
See that? I'm grinding for you guys. Look at that.
Yeah, well, he calls me out on air. What am I going to say? No? All right. Well, thank you so much for having us on, sir. We're going to follow up with you to make sure that your dojons are outfitted with 2020 Armor. So I want your next Parents' Night Out to be a Street Fighter night. You have the different themes, or like a video game night or something. So I'm going to fly out. We're going to get some Korean food in LA, and we're going to get you set up.
Hey, I'll take you. You just pay for it. I'm taking you.
Yeah, we'll negotiate that part later. All right. Have a good day, sir. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, have a good day. Bye, guys.